Hi everyone. I'm Merlin, software engineer with Adesso, father, glider instructor, volleyball setter, and from now on, DevOps speaker. Thanks for having me and thanks taking part of Web Accessibility Tools in Action talk. In a world full of borders, exclusions, and hate, I want to raise awareness for accessibility because accessibility enables participation for everyone and being part of the community for everyone. Especially this example is from Cologne. It's a first step. You can see they thought about accessibility. But you cannot see in the picture, it's the only entrance to the substation, to the station. Via an escalator, ending in front of a stair. So somehow accessible, but not finally thought through. To prevent you from doing the same errors, producing a not well thought through solution, I show you some tools which can help you avoid these things and to raise awareness in your management that accessibility is a thing you need time, you need money for to investigate. But first, let's think about disabilities. Who is disabled? In a German law, it is a person which is would only have below 50% of the typical state of life for more than 6 years. Arbitrary numbers, but the important part is in there. They are not able to participate in the life as everybody else by 50%. How these numbers are measured is arbitrary, but it's visible. That applies to 9.5% of the German. And I suppose it's similar everywhere to the UK. Maybe to the EU, maybe 2 or 3% more or less, but still the same. If we look to, I will not say old people, that would be rude, but older than me, people who are above 65 years, there we have 1/4 with disabilities. And on this slide are only the prominent ones, the ones we can see day by day and that are really, really visible. And these disabilities in the background do not prevent you from taking part of the web, taking part of the digital world. There's even a person with a laptop on the labs. So that cannot be the disabilities we talk about. The World Wide Web Consortium thought the same thing. Okay, we need to define disabilities in order to overcome them, in order to provide accessibilities, and they did so in the WCAG rules, not rules, WCAG, Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. They defined 5 different types. Visual are that everything regarding your eyes, not sharp vision. Problems to focus on a monitor, or even bright sun can be a disability as well. Auditory, everything with your hearing. That's the point why we have text down there to be accessible. Physical, not able to move a mouse. Some people are not able to move to use a mouse or to use a keyboard. In a speech, some people can speak. We know, I think everybody, some of them, sometimes see them. And cognitive and neuronal problems, like being not able to understand a website, being not able to express your plan, something like this. I'll show you a few examples, and the most easiest part for not disabled, not for people without disabilities, are color. This is color blindness. On the one side, we have the normal image, and on the other side, there's an image generated like one of the type of color blindness would see them. That's effect, this problem color blindness affects about 1/3 of the world. So, not a very, very small market. It's a big market to overcome. And that's very important on this picture. I find the orange on the image and the green 2 fields to the left. On the other image, it's the same color, somehow brownish, greenish mishmash, but it's the same color as colorblind people with this specific color blindness would see them. Low vision. Low vision is something I would state nearly everybody on the world at some point will have. That's because humans are getting way too old, as they should be. But this is an example of age-related macular degeneration. That's a degeneration of the optical nerve in your eye on the point of sharpest vision. And it's in a process, it's getting worse and worse and worse. And the problem is you can't see in a very, very far state, you cannot see very sharp, and it's nothing to do about it. And it's about 10 to 20% of the Western world. So, again, a lot. Others could be morbus Parkinson, very horrible, but it's present. It's about 1% of the world. These are the people who are not able to move a mouse or use a keyboard at all. Trisomie 21, an illness affecting your motions and your brain. It's about 0.3 to 0.4% of the world. For comparison, Twitter or X uses up 4% of the world. Again, a lot. And don't be rude to me against it, but elderly, few of us will not get this old because of numerous reasons, lots and lots of reasons, but most of us will be. And then again, we're disabled in the terms of web usability, accessibility. But the talk is tools, and I promise tools. Let's do tools. So wrong direction. This one. I show this with a website from my employer, the Adesso blog. That's a blog where we post some information about our work. At this particular site is an article from me about pattern matching and Project Amber, which needs an update, but after this season. First of all, a very, very, very easy tool you can use is use proper HTML. Because HTML is well-defined and have a well-defined semantics, like headlines. How will headlines work? Headlines work, you have a title, and then you have level 2. You have a lot of level 2s, but every level 2 can contain level 3, and so on and so forth until 7. But this semantics ordering is a semantic screen readers heavily rely on. If we open the developer tool here, you can see, okay, this is an H1. I don't know, but maybe okay. Let's check the next one. So a 4. Okay, at least it's not 1 again, but there's still something missing. The problem was even worse. Back to 2 months ago, we had all the headings mixed up and then fixed it with CSS. That's a nightmare that is unsolvable for screen readers, so this site was basically unusable for screen readers of any type. So, first tool, use proper HTML. Okay, you're not here for that. Let's try a checking tool. On the left, I have a Firefox extension. It's there for Chrome as well. For the other browsers, I don't know yet. A-Inspector is a browser plugin that inspects your currently viewed website, this one, against the web accessibility guidelines and shows violations, warnings, and might check. Violations are that kind. Okay, your headline is an H2 headline is followed by an H1 headline. It's impossible. Don't do that. That would be a violation. A warning, less. MC might check than that one that is not decidable by the tool. There are a lot. For reference, you can order it by the Web Accessibility Guideline rules that are violated. And I want to explicitly show you one. 1.4. And there we have, let's take this one. No. This one, nope. I look for one specific. Anyway. This violation says, okay, the contrast is 2.6. Contrast between background and foreground of the letters is 2.6. It has to be 4.5. Okay, just numbers again. I want to show you a tool to check, to see how that might look for different. I will take this red. This red is a color that usually is used a lot in source codes. Now it's violated. Well, it contained also the fix. I copied that color and I open a tool you can use to show every manager designer on an easy way. Okay, the colors you choose are not that good as you might think. It's called Who Can Use. Who Can Use is a very easy tool. You have a background color that's already selected, and you have a foreground color, both CSS, or you can select it manually by sliding sliders. On the top, we have the contrast ratio. So very good is obviously something white and something really black. And we have the possible WCAG grading we can achieve with that. Down here, there are a lot of illnesses regarding your vision, your color vision. We copy this CSS color. Now we see it's the same as on our web page. Maybe a little bit smaller, but that's the same size category. We have 3.5 as contrast ratio, and we can see, okay, well, that's even for regular vision a problem, but it's getting worse and worse. On the right here, let's see a small image rendered as the people with this illness would see it. Most importantly, what annoys me a lot is direct sunlight. I like reading outside, but this listing is basically not readable on the outside. And it's getting worse if you're having a glass display like me. Okay, but only showing here we fail everything. We are not accessible as we thought. Doesn't help. We should always say, okay, we can do the following steps to make it better. That's where, for my case, the tool Genies come into play. Genies is a designer, code palette selector, discovery tool, but I only use the accessibility part here because I'm not a designer. And again, we have the two colors here. I select the foreground, and the background is already set from last time. And we have this matrix. This matrix has different saturations of the background as columns and different variation of the foreground color as rows combined. So you have the full spectrum of this is my color I want to use, and now mutate every combination of foreground and background. On the top here, we have a slider. We see WCAG level. If I slide it left, we can see a lot of combinations are good to use for a very low level. There's again these colors, these combinations you can't see are the combinations that are not usable at all to achieve any accessibility level. So if we slide it back to AA is the one that we want to achieve. It's the default. And we can see, okay, if we take this color, that's slightly better, looks almost the same as on our the current state, but it has a contrast ratio from 5.5. That's not immense good, but we still have to stick with the corporate identity colors, so we have only little room, but it might work. Okay, I copied the CSS value down here, so let's change this. Firefox has this neat feature that you can select something, copy and paste. You can see this string here, copy and paste a new color there, enter, done, ready. At least for the red parts of the color, we have to check every other of the, I think that's 5 or 6 colors that I have to check to achieve AA on every color. But for the red part, we are done. And these steps, put it into who can see, put it in Genies, and evaluated the colors are good. I would have expected every designer to know this step and to do this. But I can tell no. No. To be honest, not even the big conferences always get it right. Okay, we have now tools. We have now tools to check our own website easily. We have tools to fix the most easiest parts, use proper HTML, and tinker your colors until you're with a good contrast. And we have 2 tools to visualize it to management to say, hey, look, we have problems here. Give us some time. We don't need much. I can fix one color while you are looking, but give us some time to fix it. To don't produce the escalators with the stairs in front. But clicky bunty tools are not the tools usually developers like. And clicky bunty tools are not good in automating stuff, and automating stuff is the ultimate goal. I think everybody of you also agrees. There's a tool, command line tool, first good thing, called Pally with 2 ones. It's a Node.js hipster tool, so it needs to be ones instead of else. And it's that easy that we enter the URL we want to check. So, and it's now starting. internally, it is opening the website with a headless Chrome and analyzes the WCAG problems. And then we find out, oh, wow, 168 errors. That's a lot, even for AA standard, not AAA, AA standard. Come to the standard later again. And for every error, there's a rule that is violated. There's an CSS selector, how we find it to fix it. And there's the explicit snippet that violates the problem, that violates it. Okay, this is cool if you want to check it on your machine manually or not running WCAG and this fancy plugin. But to work with management, we need something different. We can use a report as CSV. Does the same thing, reports it as CSV, as tabular data, and we can open it in Excel. And then we're even able to import it into Jira or something else, and to group it and to make it accessible even for PowerPoint engineers. Okay, that's rude, but you know what I mean. But still, it's a manual step. Luckily, the Peli guys also included an CLI script for Traverse, but I think it's also integratable with Jenkins and different other stuff. And if you're not convinced your management yet, they also have a fancy dashboard where you just click. Every manager can do that as well. Enter an URL you're copying from your browser, copy, paste, ready. You may give it a username or password, and okay, at this part it's may getting complex that they need help from developers, but it's nothing more than okay. And for every public available website, like a landing page or a blog or so, it's nothing more than give it a name, copy the link, next. And then we get an analysis, like this one from DevFox BE, with, you again can download a CSV if you want, and you can show look at every error, every information. You basically get the same information as in the CSV and in the command line output, but on a nice fancy way. Other plus is, it is scheduled every day at 12:30. This cron job runs, executes every analysis, and puts it on the website. So you can even monitor your your production code. And if you do that, you're every day monitoring your results. You also get a nice graph in terms of a burn down or burn up, depending on your release. Okay. We switch back. We've done tools. What to try at home? I think you might guess, but let me summarize it. Create awareness yourself. It's very easy. There are a lot of tools, like the AI inspector, or this one is a tool which applies the visual illnesses we see and who can see on a whole website. Interesting experiment. Another interesting experiment, use the open source screen readers once and force your product owner to use it on their own product, even with vision, and maybe next level, without vision. Quite funny for a next sprint demo. Everywhere there's an open source tool, NVDA. NVDA is the one recommended by German government as well for their products. Apple VoiceOver, Windows Narrator, and on Linux Debian-based, I think it's Orca. So everywhere there is a tool for that. Make the problems visible. If you ask them, yeah, Okay, it's a little bit contrast. Put it in who can see, send it. You can encode it in an URL. Just send it, click. Oh, 90% of the people can't see this. Maybe we have to do that. Demonstrate to designers, hey, let's change this color a tiny bit. Just a saturation change from 200 to 400, fixed the colors of the listening for the Adesso Dev block. And to be honest, most screens are this worse, this bad, that this little change. I think not much people will see that anyway. And most important, use proper HTML. That's the most easiest part. And use labeled by. It also fixes nearly everything. Describe it, done. Next step, which, if you're allowed to do things, use Pally. On a command line, then integrate it in your build. Maybe get your management to apply it to your production or your test systems by monitoring your errors. And you can see, I hope you can see from that point that management will help you. The big problem, that's not important, the big problem is not finally thought and not finally not finally thought solutions. Avoid this. Think it till the end. Then the big problem is, by EU regulations, every firm will be forced within the next 2 years to at least comply with single A, and in the near future will also be forced to comply with double A, without exceptions. So, think it through. Only one error can cost you the double A. So, think it through. Do it ready. Okay, from this point, I hope you get aware. I hope you get the tools to create awareness yourself. Thanks for sticking with me. We have still 3 minutes left for questions if there are. And if not, I wish you a good night. See you tomorrow. I'm all day around and even have cookies with me. Just find me and we talk about accessibility or anything other beside that. I can talk about a lot of things a lot of time. Thanks. So if there are no questions, then head out, grab a drink, and have a good night.